Hey, what's up guys, it's DarkArmedDuelist and I'm doing a Sacred Beast deck profile. So I'm really excited to show you guys because this deck is an amazing deck with just how consistent it is to summon out your Sacred Beast cards. I have all sorts of amazing tech cards in this deck for you guys, so without further ado, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell in there so you can come part of our notification squad, and definitely check out the Patreon down in the description below for all those awesome rewards, like getting your name skipped for every single video, getting a signed cards in the mail, and even getting to request a deck profile every single month to your patron. So without further ado, let's get straight on into this. So first off, we're going to be playing 2 copies of Raviel, Lord of Phantasms. This card is absolutely massive, coming in at 4,000 attack points, and it also has a really easy summoning requirement that it cannot be normal summoned or set. It must be special summoned from your hand by attributing 3 fiend monsters, which is really cool. This card also generates tokens every time your opponent normal summons a monster, which is a great effect for this card to have, and it also has the ability once per turn, you can tribute 1 monster, and this card gains attack equal to attributed monster's original attack until the end of this turn, which is a pretty good effect to be able to get this card absolutely massive. We then play a single copy of Raviel, Lord of Phantasms, Simmering Scraper, which is a crazy powerful card that is essentially a game-ending card. It has a really good effect that you can quick effect discard this card, target a Raviel that you control, and for the rest of the turn, its attack becomes double its current attack. Also, it can attack all monsters that your opponent controls once each, making this card a crazy powerful hand trap to get your Raviel absolutely massive and OTK the opponent. We then play 2 copies of Haman, Lord of Striking Thunder. This card is the one you summon the majority of the time in the deck and is a really good 2 of in the deck. I almost played 3 copies of this card and 1 copy of Raviel, but this card is just really good as a 2 of in the deck. It has the ability it must be special summoned from your hand by sending 3 face-up continuous spells that you control to the graveyard, and if this card destroys an opponent's monster of battle and sends it to the graveyard, you inflict 1,000 bonus points of damage to your opponent. And while this card is face-up in defense position, monsters that your opponent controls cannot target monsters for attacks except for this one, and this card has 4,000 defense points, making it super hard for your opponent to get through this card. We then play a single copy of Uriah, Lord of Searing Flames. You only really need a single copy of Uriah. It's a really good 1 of the deck, but it has a really good effect that it cannot be normal summoned or set. It must be special summoned from your hand by sending 3 face-up trap cards that you control to the graveyard. And this card gains 1,000 attack points for each continuous trap card in your graveyard, and once per turn, you can target a set spell or trap card that your opponent controls, destroy that target, and neither player can activate spells or traps in response to this card's activation, which is a great effect to be able to pop a set card that your opponent controls. We then play 3 copies of Dark Beckoning Beast, which is a card that we're trying to normal summon in the deck all the time, and the best normal summon this deck has. This card is really good in the deck because when this card is normal summon, you can add a Uriah, Haman, or Raviel, or 1 card that specifically lists any of those cards in its text from your deck to your hand, except another copy of this card. And you can only effect this card once per turn, which is a great effect to have as a searcher. And then during your main phase, you can normal summon 1 fiend monster with 0 attack and defense in addition to your normal summoner set, which is a great effect to give you just an additional normal summon to summon out a really powerful card. We then play just 2 copies of Chaos Summoning Beast. 2 copies is totally fine for this build for all the other tech cards that I'm playing, but this card is really good because you can tribute this card to special summon a Uriah, Haman, or Raviel from your hand, ignoring its summoning conditions. And you can also manage this card from your graveyard to add a Fallen Paradise from your deck to your hand, which is our extremely powerful field spell. We then play just a single copy of Dark Summoning Beast. I have cut this card down for all the other tech cards that I'm playing in this build, but it's still a really good 1 of because you can tribute this card to special summon a Uriah, Haman, or Raviel from your hand or deck, ignoring their summoning conditions, and also monsters you control cannot attack for the rest of the turn, which is a little bit of a downside if you're trying to OTK your opponent. You can also banish this card from your graveyard to add a Uriah, Haman, or Raviel from your deck to your hand, which is a pretty good effect on this card. We then play 3 copies of Bysteel Magnamut. Bysteel Magnamut is a really good 3 of the deck, and all of your level 6 Bysteel monsters share a common effect that you can target a light or dark monster in either player's graveyard and banish it, and if you do, special summon this card from your hand. And it's a quick effect if your opponent controls a monster, which all the level 6 Bysteels share that effect. And this card's unique ability is if this card is special summoned, you can activate this effect that during the end phase of this turn, you can add a dragon monster from your deck or graveyard to your hand, except another copy of this card, which is really good to make sure that you always have a hand trap in your hand with a Bysteel card. We then play 3 copies of Bysteel Solnir. Solnir is really good as a 3 of the deck, because this card has a really unique effect that if your opponent controls a monster, it's a quick effect to special summon this card, just like your copy of Magnuma, but if this card is sent to the graveyard, then you get to send a Bysteel monster or a branded spell or trap from your deck to the graveyard, except another copy of this card, which is a great effect because we're only playing the continuous spells and traps for the branded cards, making it really easy to summon out your copy of Uriah or Haman, and it works really well with those cards. We then play a single copy of Druid's Worm. I feel like 1 copy of Druid's Worm is totally fine in this build. If this card is sent from the field to the graveyard, then you can target a special summon monster your opponent controls and send it to the grave. But I feel like 1 is totally fine in this build because it's so searchable. We then play 2 copies of Lubellion. Lubellion is really good because you can discard this card to the graveyard to be able to add one of your other Bysteel monsters from your deck to your hand. And if this card is in your hand or graveyard, you can tribute a level 6 or higher Dark Dragon monster to be able to special summon this card, which is a great effect for this card to have. It also has the ability you can send this card from your hand to the grave to be able to add the Bysteel monsters from your deck to your hand, and it also has a great effect that during your main phase, you can place a branded continuous spell or trap from your deck face up on the field, which is a really good effect to be able to just instantly get you a continuous spell or trap on the field so you can use it with Uriah or Haman. So that's it for the monsters, guys. Let's get into the spells. So for the spells, we're going to be playing a single copy of Foolish Burial to get the exact monster in the graveyard when we need it. We then play a single copy of Dimension Fusion Destruction. This card is an extremely powerful fusion spell that we're going to be using to summon out our copy of Armatile. This card is a great effect that you basically banish from your hand, field, or graveyard the fusion materials that are listed on a Phantasm fusion monster, then special summon that fusion monster from your X deck, ignoring its summoning conditions, which is a great effect for this card to have. It makes it super easy to summon out your copy of Armatile, which is just really, really nice. And if you control Uriah, Haman, or Raviel, your opponent cannot activate cards or effects in response to this card's activation, making it a speed spell for fusion spell. We then play a single copy of Branded Regained. Branded Regained is really good in the deck because you can easily get to it with your copy of Lubellion, but if a light or dark monster is banished except during the damage step, you can target one of those monsters and place that monster on the bottom of the deck, and if you do, draw a card, which is great to be able to just dig into the deck for the exact cards that you need. And if your opponent normal summons or special summons a monster, except during the damage step, then you can target a Bysteel monster in your graveyard and special summon it, which is a great effect to just instantly get you a Bysteel on your side of the field. We then play 2 copies of Cerulean Skyfire. Cerulean Skyfire is a really good 2-of in this particular build, and it has a great effect that to special summon Haman, using its own procedure, you can also use face down spell cards that you control. And once per turn, while you control an attack position of Haman, you can negate any spell or trap effect activated by your opponent, then change Haman to defense position, and if a face-up Uriah, Haman, or Raviel that you control leaves the field, you take no damage this turn, which is a crazy powerful effect. We then play 2 copies of Fallen Paradise. Fallen Paradise is a really good field spell that has the ability that your opponent cannot target Uriah, Haman, Raviel, or Armatile in your monster zone with card effects, and also those monsters cannot be destroyed by our opponent's card effects either, and then while you control them. And if you control a Uriah, Haman, Raviel, or Armatile in the monster zone, you can draw 2 cards each turn, which is a crazy powerful effect just to help you draw more cards in this deck to get to your combo pieces. We then play 3 copies of the map. The map is really powerful in the deck because at the start of the main phase 1, you can add a monster with 0 attack from your deck to your hand, which your Dark Beckoning Beast is a target for this card. After adding that monster to your hand until the end of the next turn, after this card was activated, you cannot activate the added monster's effect unless you normal summon it, which is not that big of a deal because the Dark Beckoning Beast really is the only normal summon we have in the deck that we want to search off this card. We then play 3 copies of Opening of the Spirit Gates. This card is basically a Rhoda for the deck that when you activate this card, you can add a Uriah, Haman, or Raviel, or one monster that specifically lists those cards in its text from your deck to your hand, which is your copy of your Dark Beckoning Beast, or your copy of your Dark Summoning Beast, or Chaos Summoning Beast. And it also has the ability once per turn, you can discard a card to special summon a Fiend monster with 0 attack and defense from your graveyard to your side of the field, and once per turn, if you control a level 10 monster, then you can add a continuous spell from your graveyard back to your hand, which is a pretty good effect to be able to recover your copies of Branded Regain or Cerulean Skyfire. So, that's it for the spells, guys. Let's get into the traps. So for the traps, we're going to be playing a single copy of Branded Beast. Branded Beast is a great one of the deck because once per turn during the main phase, if you control a Bysteel monster, you can treat a dragon monster and then target one card your opponent controls and destroy it, which is a great interruption for this deck. And during the end phase, you can target a branded continuous spell or trap in the graveyard and place it face up on the field, which is a pretty good effect to be able to get you back your copy of Branded Regained. We then play a single copy of Hyperblaze. Hyperblaze is really good as a one-of in the deck because it helps you summon out your copy of Uriah, and it also makes him a crazy powerful OTK piece. And once per turn, you can discard one card to add to your hand or special summon a Uriah, Hamon, or Raviol from your graveyard, ignoring their summoning conditions. We then play two copies of Awakening of the Sacred Beast. I have cut this card down to two because it is searchable and it's still really good in this deck, but you gain the effects depending on the number of Sacred Beasts that you control with different names, which is really cool because this card basically gains those abilities and it's just really, really cool. If you have one, each time your opponent normally special summons a monster, you gain life points equal to the attack of the monster. If you control two, negate the activated effects of monsters that your opponent controls, making this card skill drained but only one-sided. Or if you control three, any monster sent to the opponent's graveyard is banished instead, which is a crazy cool effect. And once per turn, if you control a level 10 monster, you can add a continuous trap from your graveyard back to your hand, which is really cool to be able to grab back one of our traps. We then play three copies of Skill Drain. Skill Drain is really, really powerful in this deck because basically we're just summoning out 4,000 attack point monsters over and over again with Hamon and Raviol to be able to just OTK the opponent. So it makes it really good for us and really bad for the opponent because we can go through our full combo, and even if we use our Bysteals in the hand, we're still banishing cards from their graveyard while also summoning out a 2,500 attack point monster, even if its effects are negated, which your copies of Solnir and your copies of Druid's Worm will activate in the graveyard anyways, which is really cool. And I love maining this card because it makes it easier to summon out your copy of your Uriah. So that's it for the main deck, guys. Let's get into the extra deck. So for the extra deck, we're going to be playing a single copy of Armital, the Chaos Phantasm, Phantom of Fury. This card is a really good one of the deck and is really an awesome card that requires a Uriah, Hamon, and Raviol to summon this card. And this card's name becomes Armital while on the field, and once per turn, during your main phase, you can give control of this card to your opponent, and then once per turn, during the end phase, if this card that you control was changed this turn, the control of this card was changed, you banish all cards that you control and basically give back to the owner and special summon an Armital, the Chaos Phantom, from your extra deck, ignoring its summoning conditions, which is really cool because basically you can use this card to give it to the opponent, get rid of all their cards, and then we get a copy of Armital on our side of the field, which is really cool to be able to OTK. We then play a single copy of Armital, the Chaos Phantom. Armital basically just comes out at 10,000 attack points because this card gains 10,000 attack points during our turn only, which is really cool to OTK the opponent. We then play a single copy of Access Code. Access Code's really nice in this deck to be able to pop multiple cards on the field. It's just a great card to summon in this deck. One copy of Unicorn to spin stuff, Phoenix to pop spells and traps, one copy of Pentastag, so the monster that points to does piercing damage, which is really good. One copy of IP Masquerena, because we can make Unicorn during the opponent's turn. We play a single copy of Link Rebo, because we do play level 1 monsters in the deck. We play a single copy of Salaman Great Alamirage. This card is really good as one of because we can link away a monster that has basically 1,000 or less attack points that was normal summoned to the field. We then play a single copy of Gustav Max to do 2,000 points of burn damage and also make our copy of Juggernaut Lieb. This card is really good as an OTK piece in the deck. We play a single copy of Number 35. This card is really good to summon to our side of the field, especially since we play the map, because all monsters that we control gain attack and defense equal the difference between your life points and your opponent's life points. So when you activate the map paying half your life points, all your monsters are going to gain 4,000 additional attack points with this card on the field, which is really nice. It's also really good because we can rank it up into number 84 by just laying 84 on top of it, and into a copy of Seven Sins, which will make a copy of Zeus, which is really massive, giving it basically 3 additional materials, which is really nice. I love Zeus in this particular deck with your copy of your Spider Engine, because by summoning out Zeus, you're going to have a 5 material Zeus by using the Spider Engine in this deck, which is really, really good. So that's it for the deck, guys. I hope you did enjoy it. This deck is super fun to be able to play. If you guys have never played Sacred Beast before, you should definitely give this deck a try, because it's really fun just being able to summon out this Sacred Beast, and super nostalgic as well. So Anyways, guys, this is DarkArmedDuelist. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Definitely hit that bell in there so you can become part of the notification squad, and we'll see you guys in the next video. See you later, guys.